Hello students, welcome to your WebSeek Academy English channel. Today, we will discuss the essay How Wealth Accumulates and Men Decay, which is a part of your first semester BBA English syllabus. This thought-provoking essay is written by George Bernard Shaw, a famous British playwright, critic, and essayist known for his sharp wit and deep social insights. A note on the author. George Bernard Shaw, 1856 to 1950, was a creative writer, literary critic, and leading 20th-century dramatist. He was greatly influenced by contemporary socialist thinkers and was an active supporter of socialism, promoting his ideas by delivering lectures and distributing literature. Maxims of Revolution, 1903, Common Sense About the War, 1914, An Intelligent Woman's Guide to Socialism and Capitalism, 1928, are examples of essays he wrote on political and social issues. In 1925, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. How Wealth Accumulates and Men Decay Summary. George Bernard Shaw, a renowned playwright and social critic, explores the paradox of economic progress in his essay How Wealth Accumulates and Men Decay. He critiques how industrialization and capitalism, while increasing material wealth, contribute to the physical, moral, and social decline of the working class. Through sharp observations and satirical tone, Shaw exposes the flaws of an economic system that benefits the few while exploiting the many. 1. The central argument, the paradox of wealth and decay. Shaw begins by highlighting a fundamental contradiction in modern economies. While wealth continues to accumulate, the people responsible for generating this wealth, workers and laborers, suffer physical and moral decline. The industrial age has enabled rapid economic growth, technological advancements, and increased production, but it has also worsened living and working conditions for the poor. He challenges the belief that economic prosperity automatically leads to a better society, arguing instead that uncontrolled capitalism creates a system where a small group of people, capitalists and industrialists, hoard wealth, while the majority struggles to survive. 2. The exploitation of the working class. Shaw critiques the way industrial societies function, emphasizing that workers, who are the backbone of the economy, are also its biggest victims. He discusses several ways in which the laboring class is exploited. Long working hours and poor wages, factory workers, miners, and laborers work for excessively long hours but receive meager wages that barely cover their basic needs. Their lives are reduced to mere survival, leaving no room for education, self-improvement, or leisure. Unhealthy living conditions. Due to low wages, workers are forced to live in crowded, unsanitary slums. Malnutrition, disease, and lack of proper medical care make them physically weak, further reducing their ability to work efficiently. Unhealthy living conditions. Due to low wages, workers are forced to live in crowded, unsanitary slums. Malnutrition, disease, and lack of proper medical care make them physically weak, further reducing their ability to work efficiently. Loss of individuality and creativity. Industrial work is repetitive and mechanical, stripping workers of any sense of creativity or personal fulfillment. Unlike artisans of the past who took pride in their craftsmanship, modern workers are mere cogs in a machine. Shaw highlights that while wealth is being generated at unprecedented rates, the people responsible for it do not get to enjoy its benefits. Instead, they are trapped in a cycle of poverty and decline. 3. The physical and moral degeneration of workers. One of Shaw's strongest arguments is that economic inequality does not just affect finances, it also leads to the physical and moral decay of the working class. Physical decay. Due to poor diets, harsh working conditions, and lack of medical care, workers suffer from numerous health problems, including malnutrition, respiratory diseases, due to factory pollution, and early aging. Their physical strength declines over time, making them unable to work efficiently and forcing them into early retirement or extreme poverty. Moral decay. Poverty forces people to make desperate choices. Many resort to dishonesty, theft, or even crime to survive. Shaw argues that when basic needs are not met, morality becomes a luxury. He critiques the hypocrisy of the upper classes, who blame the poor for their moral failings while ignoring the economic conditions that push them into desperation. Shaw's argument is that society cannot expect morality from people who are starving and struggling to survive. Instead of blaming them, the system itself must be reformed. 4. The role of the wealthy. Do they deserve their riches? Shaw then shifts his focus to the wealthy elite, the factory owners, industrialists, and capitalists who benefit from the labor of the poor. He challenges the common belief that the rich deserve their wealth because they are smarter or more hardworking. Wealth as a result of systemic privilege. Shaw argues that many wealthy individuals did not earn their fortunes purely through hard work or intelligence but rather by exploiting existing economic systems. Inherited wealth, monopolies, and exploitation of labor contribute more to their success than actual merit. The myth of job creation. Many rich people justify their wealth by claiming they provide jobs for others. However, Shaw questions whether these jobs truly uplift workers or merely trap them in a cycle of exploitation. If workers remain poor despite working hard, then the economic system is clearly flawed. The lack of social responsibility. Shaw criticizes how the rich often donate to charities while continuing to exploit workers. He argues that true social change cannot come from occasional acts of charity but from systematic reforms that ensure fair wages and better living conditions for all. 5. The need for economic and social reforms. To address these issues, Shaw advocates for significant changes in economic policies and societal attitudes. Some of his proposed solutions include fair wages and better working conditions. Employers should pay their workers fairly so that they can afford proper housing, food, and medical care. Working hours should be reduced to allow people time for rest and personal growth. Public welfare and social security. Governments should take responsibility for the welfare of their citizens by providing health care, education, and unemployment support. Economic policy should focus on uplifting the poor rather than increasing profits for the wealthy. A shift in societal values. Shaw urges society to move away from valuing wealth accumulation as the ultimate goal. Instead, people should prioritize human well-being, social justice, and ethical governance. Conclusion. The relevance of Shaw's ideas today. Shaw's essay remains highly relevant even today, as issues of wealth inequality, worker exploitation, and social injustice continue to exist worldwide. His critique of capitalism serves as a warning against unchecked economic growth that prioritizes profits over people. He ultimately calls for a more humane economic system, one that values human life as much as it values wealth. Instead of allowing wealth to accumulate while men decay, society should strive for balanced progress, where economic success benefits everyone, not just a privileged few. Through this essay, Shaw forces readers to reflect on the consequences of economic systems that prioritize money over morality. His message is clear. True progress is not just about accumulating wealth, it is about ensuring that every individual has the opportunity to live a dignified and fulfilling life. Short answer questions. 1. Women's pin allowance was called? Answer: pin money. 2. What was called pin money? Why was it called so? Answer. Pin money was a small allowance given to women by their husbands to buy personal items, including pins. It was called so because, in earlier times, pins were expensive, and women had to save money specifically for purchasing them. Over time, the term came to refer to any small sum of money given for personal expenses. 3. Why were John Ruskin and William Morris worried? Answer. John Ruskin and William Morris were worried about the effects of the Industrial Revolution on human creativity and craftsmanship. They believed that machines were replacing skilled labor, leading to a decline in the quality of work and reducing the role of artisans in society. They feared that mass production was dehumanizing workers by turning them into mere machine operators. 4. Capitalist system produced universal ignorance. True/false? Answer. True. Shaw argues that the capitalist system focused only on profit, ignoring the intellectual and moral development of workers. As a result, the working class remained ignorant and lacked proper education and critical thinking skills. 5. What worried thinkers such as John Ruskin and William Morris? A. The fact that men lost their skill to machine. B. The fact that there were too many pins being made. C. The fact that pins were extremely cheap. D. The fact that women no longer made pins. Answer. The fact that men lost their skill to machines. 6. Shaw blames for the spread of ignorance. Answer. The capitalist system. Answer each of the following questions in about 1 page. 1. What are the consequences of the Industrial Revolution of the 18th century in Europe? Answer. The Industrial Revolution brought significant changes to European society, economy, and technology. On the positive side, it led to mass production, economic growth, and increased availability of goods. Factories produced items at a much faster rate, making them cheaper and more accessible. However, these benefits came at a great cost. One major consequence was the exploitation of workers. People, including children, worked long hours in unsafe conditions for minimal wages. The shift from agrarian life to factory work led to overcrowded cities, poor living conditions, and widespread health issues. Skilled artisans lost their jobs as machines took over production. Another consequence was social inequality. While factory owners and industrialists became wealthy, the working class suffered in poverty. Education and intellectual growth were neglected, leading to widespread ignorance among workers. The capitalist system prioritized profit over human well-being, creating a society where wealth accumulated in the hands of a few while the majority struggled to survive. In short, the Industrial Revolution transformed Europe's economy but also created deep social and economic problems, which thinkers like Shaw, Ruskin, and Morris strongly criticized. 2. How does Adam Smith appreciate the value of the division of labor? Answer. Adam Smith, in his book The Wealth of Nations, praised the division of labor as a key factor in economic progress. He argued that breaking down production into small, specialized tasks allowed workers to become highly skilled in their specific roles, leading to increased efficiency and productivity. For example, in a pin-making factory, instead of one person making an entire pin, different workers were assigned different tasks: cutting the wire, shaping the head, sharpening the point, and packaging. This specialization made production much faster and cheaper. Smith also believed that the division of labor encouraged technological advancements, as workers focused on perfecting their specific tasks, leading to innovation. However, critics like Shaw argued that while this system increased productivity, it also made workers intellectually weaker, as they only repeated mechanical tasks without understanding the overall process. 3. Describe the ignorance and helplessness of the modern workers. Answer. George Bernard Shaw criticized the capitalist system for making workers ignorant and helpless. He argues that industrialization reduced workers to mere machine operators, taking away their need to think creatively or understand their work. Before industrialization, artisans took pride in their craftsmanship, understanding every step of production. However, in modern factories, workers perform repetitive, monotonous tasks without knowing how the final product is made. This lack of engagement leads to intellectual stagnation, as workers do not develop problem-solving skills or creative thinking. Additionally, factory workers remain financially and socially helpless. They earn just enough to survive but not enough to improve their education or living conditions. They have no control over their work environment, wages, or job security, making them vulnerable to exploitation. Shaw emphasizes that this system benefits the rich while keeping the working class in ignorance, ensuring that they do not challenge the inequalities of the capitalist system. 4. How did machines take over the control of manufacturing from men? Answer. Machines took over manufacturing from men gradually, beginning with the Industrial Revolution. Before this period, artisans and craftsmen controlled production, making goods by hand with skill and creativity. However, with the rise of machines, production shifted from small workshops to large factories. Machines were introduced to increase efficiency and reduce production costs. Unlike human workers, machines could work continuously without rest and produce uniform products at a faster rate. Factory owners found it more profitable to rely on machines rather than skilled laborers, leading to mass unemployment among artisans. With time, workers became mere operators of machines, performing repetitive tasks without understanding the overall production process. This shift resulted in the loss of traditional skills and craftsmanship. Instead of being independent producers, workers became dependent on factory jobs for survival. Shaw criticized the system because it prioritized profit over human intelligence and creativity, making workers powerless in the face of industrial capitalism. 5. How does division of labor affect human intelligence and skill? Answer. The division of labor, while increasing efficiency, has negative effects on human intelligence and skill. In earlier times, workers were involved in the entire process of making a product, which required a variety of skills and problem-solving abilities. However, industrialization divided production into small, repetitive tasks, which required little intellectual effort. For example, in a factory, one worker may only be responsible for attaching a single part to a machine all day, without understanding how the full machine works. This repetitive work does not challenge the mind or encourage learning, leading to intellectual stagnation. Over time, workers lose their ability to think critically or develop new skills. Additionally, the division of labor makes workers replaceable. Since they perform only one simple task, they can easily be replaced by machines or other workers, reducing job security. Shaw argues that this system benefits factory owners by making workers dependent on low-paying jobs while keeping them ignorant and powerless. 6. Discuss how machines have impacted the life of modern man. Answer. Machines have brought both positive and negative changes to the life of modern man. On one hand, they have made life more convenient by increasing production, lowering costs, and reducing the need for physical labor. People today enjoy greater access to goods, transportation, and technology because of industrial advancements. However, Shaw focuses on the negative impact of machines, especially on workers. Machines have replaced skilled labor, leading to mass unemployment and economic inequality. Instead of being creators, workers have become machine operators, performing repetitive tasks that do not require intelligence or creativity. Moreover, machines have widened the gap between the rich and the poor. Industrialists and factory owners benefit from increased production and profits, while workers remain underpaid and exploited. The reliance on machines has also made modern society more mechanical, with less focus on human well-being and more emphasis on profit. In conclusion, while machines have improved material wealth, they have also contributed to social and economic problems. Shaw warns that if society continues to prioritize machines over human welfare, workers will continue to suffer, and true progress will remain an illusion. Answer each of the following questions in about 2 pages. 1. Describe what Shaw means when he says that capitalism has spread ignorance and helplessness. Answer. Shaw argues that capitalism keeps workers ignorant and helpless by reducing them to mere tools in the production process. Workers perform repetitive tasks in factories without understanding the full process, which prevents intellectual growth. Long working hours and low wages leave them no time for education or self-improvement, keeping them unaware of their exploitation. Capitalism also makes workers economically dependent. Since they lack skills beyond their assigned tasks, they have no choice but to accept low wages and poor working conditions. Job security is minimal, and any resistance leads to immediate replacement. This economic struggle forces them to remain submissive, ensuring that wealth continues to accumulate for the rich while workers remain powerless. Shaw believes that true progress should not be measured by material wealth alone but by the well-being and knowledge of the people. He criticized capitalism for prioritizing profit over human development, leading to widespread ignorance and helplessness among workers. 2. What are the demerits of the capitalist system? Answer. Capitalism, while promoting economic growth, has several negative effects, especially for workers. One major drawback is exploitation. Factory owners pay low wages while demanding long hours of labor. Workers have no job security and can be replaced easily, making them powerless. Another issue is economic inequality. Wealth accumulates in the hands of a few while the majority struggles to survive. The rich grow richer, while the poor remain trapped in poverty with limited opportunities for advancement. Capitalism also leads to the loss of creativity and skill. Traditional craftsmen were replaced by machines, making work mechanical and monotonous. Instead of skilled labor, workers now perform repetitive tasks without intellectual engagement. Finally, capitalism encourages unethical practices like child labor, environmental pollution, and price manipulation, all in pursuit of profit. Shaw argues that an economic system should focus on human welfare rather than just financial gain. 3. Explain how Adam Smith appreciates the value of labor. Answer. Adam Smith, in The Wealth of Nations, praises the division of labor as a way to increase productivity and efficiency. He explains that when a production process is divided into small tasks, each worker specializes in one step, completing it faster and with greater precision. For example, in a pin-making factory, instead of one person making an entire pin, different workers handle different tasks: cutting, shaping, and packaging. This specialization reduces wasted effort and increases overall output. Smith also argues that the division of labor leads to innovation, as workers and manufacturers develop new tools and techniques to improve efficiency. However, critics like Shaw argue that while this system benefits factory owners, It limits workers' intellectual growth by making their jobs repetitive and mechanical. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WebSeek Academy for more English lessons and notes. See you in the next video. Until then, think big and win big.